Hey everybody, welcome to We Live in Color. I'm your host, Deaunte Damper. Remember to like, share, and subscribe the stream, and subscribe to Converge Media. You'll learn more about The Day with Trey, Seattle News and Brews, Back to Basa, and more. Go to whereweconverge.com and to find out why Black media matters. Today, when we talk about living in color, and personally why I live in color, is because of the community members that have planted seeds within some of us who have been impacted and didn't know that we can actually make changes. This woman means the world to me, and I am very happy to have her in the Black Media Matters studio because after hearing her story, she'll mean the world to you. Aaliyah Messiah.
Hi, Deaunte.
I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And I was in awe of you looking at the wall, and you were just so mesmerized by the legacy of Seattle. And you are a part of that legacy. And you're from Tacoma.
Yeah, I'm born in Tacoma.
Born in Tacoma.
But raised in Seattle ever since I was like 7 or 8. So I consider myself from Seattle.
And what was the community like growing up here?
It was all Black, you know. I was on 28th and Jackson, the area where I grew up initially. And it was the neighborhood. Everybody that was in the neighborhood was Black. I mean, we had some older people or something that were Caucasian, but we had community. We had neighbors. We went to each other's homes, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And when we think about the climate there, and of course, like where we're getting now, like what's some of the work that you were doing before you're doing the work that you were doing now?
Some of the work that I was doing before, oh my goodness, I worked, I've always done people work. I worked at camp before I came to POCAAN, and with the emergency services and Rick Davis and all the camp community, Black community, that awesome work, the oldest social service agency in King County.
Yeah.
Right. And I also was the preschool. I went to school initially for early child education. And so I had children and drove bus and did, my life started with my family so early that, I was working, had my own children and really early and married early.
Yeah.
And so.
How young were you when you got married and had children?
15.
15. Okay. So you were able to, but you were navigating that with taking care of children and then still taking care of community.
Exactly.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
And and one of the reasons why you are so important to the legacy of this studio, as well as community, is because of a lot of the work that you ingrained in us during the 80s.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what it looked like during that time?
During the time in the 80s and 90s, it was community, it was family, it was healthy. The things were going on in the community, in the Black community, and you had the Mardi Gras that you was going to go to, the parade every year, and to the things that were just really important to you as a young person. And then getting older, and my mother was really pro-Black, and so she always would talk about the different things in history and things that were going on, and we just really continued to do the work. Let me see, who was like, we had the Mayor Norm Rice at one point, right? And this, I think of just a number of different things. I grew up a Catholic, and so I wasn't at Immaculate, but the priest there, was Black, and it was just like lots of things going on. I know some stuff came out about that, but it was really a lot of positive, good energy.
Yeah.
And you always just felt kind of like good energy was happening.
The energy was happening, but one of the things that did stand out to me through the 80s and 90s was the pandemic or epidemic, the HIV epidemic, right?
Yeah.
How were you navigating that at the time?
Wow.
Community members.
I became employed by POCAAN in 1990.
And what is POCAAN?
And POCAAN is a nonprofit organization that is a multi-social media organization that initially worked doing education and prevention with HIV and AIDS. Okay, that's how POCAAN came to be, and it was doing it for people of color. And so this was like in 1987 when the doors first opened, but the organizing of it happened, like 3 years ago. So we claim 40 years now. And so my sister was one of the first hired with POCAAN opened, right? And made a big impact. Sheila Robinson, lots of people know Sheila Robinson, and to be able to kind of follow her come into POCAAN, she gave me the application, and I looked at, the application told me about this job. She said, you might want to look at this, and I knew it was my job. That's all I knew. I said, this is my job. And somebody told me, we get like 60 people at interviewing and coming in wanting to work at POCAAN, and so I just said, this is my job. And
how was it? Like navigating community members through health disparities, like during that time? What like, can you let community know like what that stigma looked like? How bad was it?
It was awful. It was absolutely awful. I did work in direct service, working with women and children HIV positive for the first 6-7 years. And it was so intense. I feel so blessed to have been able to have been doing the work because the person that I am, I was able to really do things that I felt like was really helping, because there was such a hardship with the stigma, as you mentioned, with the substance use. Those two things cause more, I think, harm and internal damage than most anything else, because it was like the fear that was gripping, and so many of the women that I was working with, they couldn't tell anyone. They didn't tell anyone, and it was really, really hard. And they had children that were in HIV positive, and so the grief was really, really difficult. The community, POCAAN coming and being able to do this work. How I got into working. I mean, when I got the job, Catlin Fullwood, who was the first executive director, who had awesome vision, like our current director, Stephen Sawyer, she collaborated with the health department, because the health department couldn't find any people of color to do the work. Wow. And so we worked in a clinic that the health department had, and working with women and children. And so they're, working out of there and with the health department, and driving their vehicle and going to their homes and taking them anywhere and everything. I think it was such a, it was such a hard, difficult job, but it was something that was, you just felt so uplifted to be able to go and do the work. And it was sad, there was some real sadness that happened because of what was happening with so many of the women that could not. And I was working with the difficult, real difficult clients that didn't want to, couldn't, wouldn't, and so having to go and get them to go to the doctor, just that in itself was a job for many, that would have to go on for weeks before that would really happen. And then getting to the doctor, and
trying to make those connections. So,
right.
I'm going to ask you more, and because there's so much of what your work is, and I think you're a blueprint of just saying how harm reduction and health disparities go hand in hand. You have to do both, one without the other. But we'll unpack that and more when we take this quick break. You are watching We Live in Color.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client, discussing their fields, and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. See you guys in a few.
Starters.
Starters.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time!
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl!
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
And we're back with We Live in Color. I am here with the legendary Aaliyah Messiah. And we are sitting here talking, and I think one of the things about it is have always been so laser focused on the People of Color Against AIDS Network, as POCAAN was formerly known, and like now where it's at. One thing that I've always loved about the work that you do, and that people don't talk about enough in community, is how you have been able to navigate community members impacted by substance use, as well as teaching them about prevention. Tell us about some of your harm reduction work that you put in over the past 40 years.
Wow. The harm reduction work has been ongoing, even though working with people that are positive for that, it still was ongoing because it was still had to do the work to help stop the spread of HIV. But the program that we had called GOTS, Get Off the Streets, I'll talk about that a little bit, that I was also fortunate to be over and navigate it for individuals who had extensive criminal history, okay, and in prison and jail, and this, I'm talking extensive years and years, of criminal history and substance use and homelessness, right? Coming out of the prisons and being homeless and having to work with those individuals that said they were ready to make a change and do that intensive case management and community work with them to get them housed, to get them working with on their substance use recovery and just and not return. The work was to stop the recidivism. That was what the whole purpose was. And so the education for prevention. Yes, POCAAN, that's what we do. That was always inclusive of what was happening, doing the education around prevention work and health and development and wellness,
And one of the things that I've loved so much about the legacy of POCAAN and a lot of the stuff that what y'all were doing are the things that we're seeing in grants now, right?
Right.
And that's just so people can be more educated. Y'all were going, first of all, prioritizing Black and brown folks. And when it came down to whether y'all had to go on Pack Highway, because still to this day, there are no supportive programs from Tequila to Federal Way. And y'all were like, no, we're going to drive down the street every day till we find our people, till we advocate.
Outreach. Our outreach. POCAAN has always been, from day one, those first 4 people that were employed did the outreach, went to the streets and did the education and prevention. Today, we continue to do the education and prevention and have tables and we have vans and things that, we set up and give that information and really want people to know about POCAAN, that we're still here and the work that's being done. And the PrEP
Yeah.
That's being done. Okay, so that's another. We have a clinic in our Renton office that offers offers PrEP to individuals who are, that's a medication that are not HIV positive. And we want everybody to know about how important it is that this now has come all the way around to where you don't have to get infected, okay, with HIV because yes, there's condoms, but condom fatigue has happened and condoms aren't being used like they should be. Mm-hmm. But the PrEP program is something that people can get on and not have to worry about getting infected. Taking the medication, you can take pills, they can do injections, take it and have long-term times of where you don't have to get it, for weeks or months and prevent yourself from from getting infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. And I loved so much of like how you've been able to navigate with harm reduction and HIV, and I know how much you love youth. And I really wanted to also segue into some of the work that you did even outside of POCAAN and how important Lim's Bookstore and Vicki Williams is to you. And I feel like as we talk about your legacy, we cannot leave out how amazing Vicki was for you.
Thank you. That's Lim's Bookstore. Initially called and known as Life Enrichment Bookstore. And so it was Life Enrichment Bookstore, and Lim's Bookstore was initially the children's store that she gave to me. Vicki, my partner in life and partner in the business of the bookstore, was awesome. She lived and breathed the store. And so I was able to really be there and be supportive because I continued to work full time, but be supportive of all the work that was happening. Lim's became a hub of the community. Vicki worked hard and did amazing work with making sure the community is involved, and everybody who's aware of Lim's Bookstore knows that it was the place you went to get the information about what was happening, the place you went to get the books that you needed to be reading. The children, her thing were the children's books, really wanted to make sure that the children had books, and she'd give away books all the time because it was so important. You could see Lim's Bookstore in the park. Mm-hmm. You can see Lim's Bookstore in the mountains. We went in the water. We went everywhere for doing the work. But in the community, the Gullah Festival was started at Lim's Bookstore.
Kwanzaa still happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kwanzaa can happen and continues to happen every year. And
how important is your partnership with Vicki?
Well, it was amazing. It was just really amazing because of the personalities, different in some ways, but really real positive. Just a real positive energy. And it was a lot of fun. We did lots of things. Always. We went to Ghana. We went cross country and traveling, and it was just ongoing. I have 7 children. She loved each and every one of them, and would take on them, as I would say, this one's having too many problems. You take them on and take them on, and would take them on really, and be there. Anybody who in the community that she knew well, and family members that were having problems and going to prison, going to jail, and going to court. Vicki would go and sit in court for days, because of how much she cared and how much she loved our people, my family, our people in the community. Mm-hmm. Then you have come a lot of the children who are graduating now or getting ready, are going to college now. Still, I really have love for lift her up.
And and what was it like, like losing her during that space?
It was a shock. I mean, she had been ill and gotten well to an extent, and didn't know that the illness was as bad as it was. We know it had to do with her heart. She had the her heart beat so fast, I can't call the name of it, I'm sorry, but and it was just really a shock, you know. She passed at home, and last word she said was, "I love you, Aaliyah," and I just, you know, didn't have a clue. So it was a shock to the family, to me, to the community.
To the community.
Yeah, to the community. The community was so awesome.
Still to this day, there's still every day there's posts. What were you saying? The next day, what?
Yeah, the very next day. I mean, well, it was a Sunday. Vicky passed on a Friday, and that Sunday, they had put out, I don't know how and what they did, but they put it all out into the community that everybody needed to show up to the bookstore, and they had some of it on. I saw some of it on I think it was a television, whatever it was. Somebody's filming it, and the people were there. It was like, the numbers were just, you know, they were there to support, and they did, and they loved Vicky, and they were able to say so much, and it just was hard times, really difficult. You know, I feel a big hole still, you know, because of how integrated things were and how positive they were.
Yeah. But you still keep that legacy.
Yeah,
and
I do.
And we're going to talk more about that legacy when we come back. I love you.
I love you.
You're
too.
watching We Live in Color.
Home. Home is your domain, where you know every inch like the back of your hand. A place that brings out your protective side. And a place you'll always stand up for.
Going, it will fly away!
Because what's inside is the most valuable thing in the world. Your family. Mariners baseball at T-Mobile Park. Welcome home.
They're going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
In Seattle, it's more than just coffee. It's community. At the station, we brew more than just your favorite cup. We brew connection. From Beacon Hill to Columbia City, we're a space for artists, activists, and everyone in between. A place to gather, create, and simply be. Whether you need a quiet place to work, a lively spot to meet friends, or just a moment to unwind, find your place at the station. More than coffee, it's home. Visit us in Beacon Hill or Columbia City. The station, where community happens. Here on Back to Besa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Besa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Working with Benjamin has been totally different than working with a traditional bank.
They're real, and they meet you right where you stand.
I was recently funded, and that money has just changed the trajectory of what we're able to do and our output. This has been just more than just funding or a one-on-one connect. It's been an opportunity for us to really grow and connect and build roots within the community.
As a small business owner, you need to put your faith into the right people, and they seem like good people to put their faith into.
Hey everybody, we are back with We Live in Color, and I'm here with the Queen, Aaliyah Messiah. And at this point, Miss Aaliyah, We Live in Color tribute. We tribute community members who help you live in color. Who would you like to tribute today?
Wow. I really want to give a tribute to Stephen Sawyer. He's the current executive director of POCAAN. And POCAAN continues to exist now because about 7 years ago, things had really gotten very, very difficult and the doors could have closed. And Stephen came in and has turned things around. We now have like 13 different programs. The work that's being done is so valuable, from working with the youth to working with HIV positive individuals, doing case management, homelessness prevention, and the program that I'm over at this time, as well as being the deputy director of the agency, is called SAGE, or Senior Mobile Outreach Program. Seniors.
You got it.
Okay, SMMO, Senior Mobile Medical Outreach Program, or outreach, I'm sorry. And that's for seniors over 55 and older. And we have 2 wonderful vans that we use to work with the seniors, to go outreach and locate the seniors. And we have physicians, nurses, 2 doctors, and a nurse, outreach case manager, right? And so we go all over the King County to do this work.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I'm just so appreciative of Stephen as well. And we lift him up here. He has been a guest, and we'll try to get him on sometime soon. So before we do get out of here, Miss Aaliyah, as a legacy community person, I just need you to give us a call to action. So if you can look in that camera, let people know where they can find and get access to you.
Well, okay. So I am still at POCAAN and grateful to be there for a few more years, I think. But the call to action, I would say, is make sure you are educated about HIV and AIDS. And because the epidemic continues in our community, for the Black community, make sure that don't pass up the tables, don't ignore what's happening, because we're getting new HIV positive young people every day, and we cannot continue to do this. The epidemic can be under control, but we have to make sure that we're educated and we know and do the things that we need to do. POCAAN has the same phone number since the doors opened, and it is 206-322-7061. We have the website, www.pocaan.org, and give us a call, talk to us. Just let people know, let us know you want to know more, you want to do more, and open up doors that we will come to you and present and host different educationals. So that's what I seek to contribute.
See, girl, you did that good. Miss Aaliyah, I am appreciative of you.
Thank you.
I don't usually do the We Live in Color tributes, but you are part of the reason why I'm standing here. I walked in there not knowing what I'd walk in with. Yeah. And there's been times where I should have got walked out. But I appreciate you in planting a seed within me that is now turned into
this
wonderful show.
It's amazing, And look, if we had to stop, what would have happened? Yeah. We wouldn't have all of this.
If it would have stopped, I would have not been living in color.
Yeah.
And I love you.
I love you too. Thank you, Deaunte.
Love you.
You're so special.
And I love you, community. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Remember to continue to walk with love. Have a good night. Hey everybody, Deaunte Damper. To learn more about our blog posts, community events, and more, go to whereweconverge.com.